Chapter 28 of Angel Food Time, Little Talks to Little Folks by Rev. Gerald T. Brennan. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Maria Therese. Chapter 28 How to Be a Cowboy. Little Tommy Herman liked cowboys. He liked to read about cowboys, and he never missed a cowboy movie. Tommy even had a cowboy suit and loved to play cowboy with his little friends. Tommy loved all cowboys, and every cowboy was Tommy's hero. But there was one cowboy whom Tommy loved best of all. That cowboy was Bob Curwood. One day, while watching a cowboy picture on TV, Tommy got an idea. "Gee," he said to himself, "I wish I were a cowboy." Then the little fellow began to think. He wondered how he could become a cowboy. Well, the little fellow thought, and finally Tommy decided to do something. Tommy didn't tell anybody, but do you know what the little boy did? Tommy wrote a letter. He wrote a letter to his famous friend, Bob Curwood. And here's what Tommy said in his letter. "Dear Bob Curwood, how old do I have to be a cowboy? Please tell me what I have to do and where I can go to learn to be a cowboy. Your sincere friend, Tommy Herman." Now, I don't know what Bob Curwood did when he read Tommy's letter, but I'm pretty sure that Bob Curwood must have smiled. Yes, and Bob Curwood did something more than smile. Bob Curwood answered Tommy's letter. Yes, sir, Bob Curwood wrote a letter to little Tommy. And here's what the famous cowboy said in his letter. "Dear Tommy, you asked me where you could go to learn to be a cowboy. When you get a little older, maybe you won't want to be a cowboy. There are lots of other ways of being happy, and the only place where a cowboy's life is always happy is in the movies. Now, if you really want to be a cowboy, go about it this way. First of all, take lots of exercise by playing games with other good boys. Be kind to your parents and obey them. Secondly, don't be mean. Be pure in your thoughts, words, and actions. Be honest and hate lies. Remember, if you conquer yourself, you will learn how to conquer wild cattle. Be sure to pray and go to church, because a cowboy may be killed any time, and he should be ready to die. Finally, when you are a cowboy, you won't have time to study, so study now. Go to school every day and study hard. Obey your teachers and like them. And don't forget to talk over this cowboy business with your father and mother. If God wants you to be a cowboy, you'll come out right in the end. Ask God to help you. Your friend, Bob Curwood." I don't have to tell you that little Tommy Herman was pleased with his letter from Bob Curwood. That letter is something very precious, and that letter means a great deal to the little fellow. And what do you think? Tommy is trying to do everything that Bob Curwood told him to do. Yes, Tommy is very serious about this cowboy business. He is following Bob Curwood's advice because Tommy Herman wants to be a cowboy. Now, I don't know whether little Tommy will ever be a cowboy, but I do know this. If Tommy follows the advice given by his friend, Tommy will grow up to be a very fine man. Bob Curwood's advice is good for every one of you children, too, whether you are going to be a doctor or a fireman or a nurse or a teacher or a cowboy. If you follow Bob Curwood's advice, you'll come out on top. You can't miss. Are you going to be a cowboy? Maybe you are, and maybe you are not. Well, no matter what you are going to be, start now and play with good boys and girls. Be kind and obey. Be clean and be honest. Go to church and say your prayers. Go to school and study hard. Obey your teachers and parents. Ask God's help in everything you do. That's the way to be a good nurse, a good lawyer, a good policeman, a good priest, or a good cowboy. Children, it's not too early to start getting ready. God alone knows what you are going to be when you grow up. Maybe God wants you to be a cowboy. Maybe He wants you to be a priest or a fireman. Maybe God wants you to make automobiles or be a plumber. Well, whatever God wants you to do, you will want to do it well. The thing that you should do now and should do often is pray. Pray and ask God to tell you what He wants you to do. Ask God to help you like what He wants you to do. Ask God to lead you in the right way. After all, you want to do God's will. So, Even though it will be a long time before you are a priest or a cowboy, get ready now by asking God to help you. You don't want to make any mistakes. Bob Curwood gave little Tommy some very good advice. It's good advice for you, too. Pray now, and pray every day so that you will be good priests, good teachers, good nurses, good policemen. Yes, and even good cowboys. God bless you, and take good care of yourself. End of chapter 28. End of Angel Food Time. Little Talks to Little Folks by Reverend Gerald T. Brennan.